So Arsenal win 1-0 against Crystal Palace. Regular game, easy scores, like Gabriel assists, set piece. Crystal Palace defend deep. Arsenal don't concede chances. Everything is good until this moment. Arsenal are sitting top of the league, 4 points ahead of Bournemouth and 6 points ahead of the likes of Manchester City and 7 ahead of Liverpool. Until this moment, everything sounds normal, right? We analyzed the game, we spoke about the game. However, and Arsenal, as you see in front of you, are breaking record. Just to start also, we're going to talk about how the BBC and Sky Sports now are actually putting things now. Stuff that are happening that I've not seen in my life. We're going to show you a couple of videos from Jimmy Carragher. We'll show you Mark Goldbridge. Oliver Glasner actually had a lot of praise for Arsenal. I want you guys to listen to that one. Tim Sherwood had one of the best monologues about Arsenal that I have heard. You guys wouldn't want to miss that. So we're going to show you all of this. We're also going to show you how the BBC are treating Arsenal different, in my opinion. Sky Sports are running something that is, I think it's an agenda. I want to hear from you. But before we go on and do this, I am Judge Mo. This is Footy Judge Mo. It's our channel. It's my channel, but it's for the viewers, of course. With your help, we can reach 50,000 subscribers. I'm very close to that. Actually, I'm very close to 45,000, less than 100 subs. Hit that like button on this video. It will push video to new viewers, of course. And if you're new here, make sure to subscribe, turn on the notification bell to know when we go live as well. And let's go back to the video, right? And I want to hear from you in the comment section. The comment section actually helped the video move to the next viewer very well. So Arsenal set a new Premier League record, right? It's another clean sheet against Crystal Palace. I don't think they conceded a shot on target. It says that they conceded a shot on target. I went through the game and I didn't see an actual shot on target from Crystal Palace. But that's beside the point. The Arsenal were very solid defensively. Yes, Crystal Palace got in really good position sometimes. But the defensive unit, of course, with Saliba, Gabriel in the first half. Of course, with Calafiori and Timber. And then when Mosquera was added in the second half, that shuts down all attacks. I actually believe that it's one of the hardest teams to beat in Europe currently. You might get a draw. You might get a draw here and there. But it's very hard to beat Arsenal because it's actually becoming very hard for Arsenal to actually, for you to actually get a chance against them, let alone a goal. So it's hard to get a shot on target, let alone a goal. So as you can see in front of you, no team has ever in the history of the Premier League has gone 9 games and only conceded 3 goals. Even the great Jose Mourinho Chelsea team of 05, 06, or 04, 05, when they conceded only 3 Premier League goals, 13 or 14 Premier League goals, they haven't conceded 3 and 9 only. In that case, if Arsenal go with that range, that means Arsenal probably are going to see 12 to 13 goals a season. That is how the stats are going. So in a game that was supposed to be full of praise for Arsenal, and also with 13 games, 10 clean sheets, 13 games in all competitions, 10 clean sheets, 3 goals conceded, only 1 from open play that came against Manchester City, and the other 2 were actually set pieces against them. See, everything looks normal to you, right? Everything looks okay. However, the Sky Sports are presenting this argument, putting the eyes on the stats. This is the official Sky Sports Premier League website. They are performing. They're saying that Arsenal goals are 4th in the league, set pieces 1st, open play 17th. The open play XG, they are 8th, and the the percentage of goals from open play, they are 20th, and then the XG from open plays, they are 19th. I actually think that's a dig. Because instead of them praising how Arsenal are very good, now everyone now is talking about the set pieces, and the narrative will change. People are going to say that Arsenal won the league with set pieces and new ways and dark arts, and Arsenal are boring, blah, 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 blah. All the talk that is happening. I think this Arsenal team is very much in control. Here is my actual thing with it, right? But before we actually do this, this is the BBC match of the day. Yes, they are showing Gabriel like this, right? But this is the Premier League table of only open play goals counted, right? I don't know what is the reason for them to show this table. It shows that Arsenal are 5th without open play, which is fine. That is a fact. Arsenal scored a lot of goals from set pieces. That's a fact. But what is, I want you guys to answer me this. And that is my first thing. If you're a rival, answer me this. What was the reason for the BBC to present this table? What does this table add to the table? It adds one thing. It tells you that Arsenal don't win without set pieces. So yes, Gabriel is doing this and everything, but it's actually giving you the vibe that it's kind of a slight dig at Arsenal, which is kind of strange a little bit for me, for the BBC actually. It's a little bit strange for me that they are presenting this argument here. I have to tell you why I think Arsenal score a lot of set pieces. Because Arsenal actually, based on the stats, are the team that play the highest line, are the team that actually camp in the opposition's box, camp in the opposition's area. They actually play against the lowest of the low blocks. And the only way to break this down, sometimes, is by set piece. That's why Arsenal get a lot of corners. They are number one in the corners. Why? Because they get to the byline a lot. Because they are in the opposition's half a lot. That is the only explanation. If anyone else have another explanation, you will let me know. And also, what is wrong with being brilliant in deliveries and set pieces? And Gabriel, and I gotta praise this guy, and I'm gonna say this guy, Gabriel, is arguably now the best individual defender in the world currently, in my opinion. You can say Pancho or Pancho at PSG, you can say Militao, you can say whatever. I don't think that there's an individual defender that has been better than Gabriel, not only because of his defensive contribution, which is absolutely brilliant, is also because what he contributes offensively as well, because that's another weapon added to the arsenal. I want you guys to hear this. This is what Jamie Carragher said about Gabriel, which is, I want you guys to hear this. This is very important to hear what Jamie said. But first, make sure to hit the like button. It's underneath the video. And also, just a shout. Check out OK Jersey right here, right next to us. It's our sponsor here for this video. Cheap, affordable football shirts, very, very high quality. And don't forget to use the code JUDGE to get the 8%. As you see on the screen, scan the QR code or actually go to the website. Check them out. They've plenty of vintage ones as well. But let's hear the video of Jamie Carragher, what he's talking about Gabriel. Because look at his stats in front of you, the goals per match and goals conceded actually against him.
I think if Arsenal go on and win the league right now, I think he's the #1 contender. I look at those other three players, great players, all leaders for their clubs, like Gabriel is. Actually, John Terry's the only one to win the Premier League in the year he won the PFA Player of the Year. But when you actually look at John Terry and Virgil van Dijk's role, look at the goals. They're not just big leaders at the back. The numbers of goals they get, and his record is actually far better than theirs when you look at those numbers.
That is absolutely very, very true about Gabriel, which is very spot on from Jamie Carragher. He's being honest about Gabriel. His contribution to the team, actually, he's won his team points by himself from the set pieces, which is absolutely a brilliant and amazing for a defender to be that. He's that good. And also, don't forget that Gabriel has moved on from the mistakes and the bozo moments that he used to have. He's very composed now, and he's very calm. And if you watch him, he's not erratic, he's not reactive, he's a very proactive defender. And that adds a lot to what he has. And I want you guys to hear this one, because this is one of the best, actually, pieces. Now, this is just Jamie Carragher again on Sky Sports, talking about how Arsenal defensively structured very, very well.
It's not a problem when you're top of the league. There's no doubt about that. They are pretty special. And where the Premier League is right now, this season, it feels like we're going to be talking about set pieces a lot every weekend, a lot on Monday Night Football, and there is no team better in the league.
I want you guys to, I listened to this video plenty of times. Did he mean it as a dig, or he meant it as a compliment? Is he talking about set pieces? We're going to be talking about set pieces a lot, or he meant it as a compliment? I want to hear from you guys.
So it's a prime to go on and win the Premier League if that's where the league is going. I mentioned my own team in terms of Liverpool. They don't seem to be able to cope. This team has been built to cope in situations like this, in terms of the back four, the height of the team, the power that they get. And for a long time, I've said Mikel Arteta is trying to win the Premier League like a Jose Mourinho team, or, as we saw in the stands today, a George Graham Arsenal team. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with that. The most important thing is winning. And right now, they're looking in a great position, certainly after the weekend results, to go on and win the Premier League.
And I agree with him about this. The thing about Jose Mourinho's side for Chelsea used to score a lot of goals, actually. Used to be a team that is on the front foot. There's some games they played in the back foot. I actually don't think that Arteta is similar to Mourinho. I think Arteta is way, way more in control of games. And that is what I like about Mikel Arteta. The in control in terms of like where the ball is going. He is the one, I think, Arsenal team, the reason why I think they're one of the best well-drilled teams in the world is how this Arsenal team is so in control of situations along the 90 minutes, which is something that not a lot of teams have at the moment. Like you watch City against Aston Villa, they weren't in control. Liverpool against Brentford, not in control. Sunderland against Chelsea, they're not in control. But Arsenal, you can say boring, you can say whatever, but they are in control. That is, in football analysis, the Arsenal team are the ones that dictate where the ball is going the next play, offensively and defensively. They force the opposition to channels and they actually take the ball where they want on the pitch. And that is pretty astonishing. This one, you're not going to regret this, but this is Tim Sherwood, actually. It's the best monologue I've heard about Arsenal for a long time.
It's so hard to try and break down.
But yeah, they're so stingy. But it's not only their back five. I talked about before the game of thinking they're the best in the league. Well, I look at Timber again today. And he's got everything. I mean, it's so powerful. He's quick. He's good on the ball. He tucks round. He's a leader. Saliba comes off injured there today. Looks like they're trying to protect a little injury from him. Mascara comes on. Looks like it's a seamless transition. He just comes on, does the job. Calafiori comes off. They make changes and they're able to cope. Declan Rice comes off with a little injury. I think he was carrying an ankle injury from the first half. But if he can't make the next game, there's no dramas anymore because of the squad that they've built. And look, every team wants to, play expansive football, put a load of passes together and open teams up and score from open play. But you can't always do it, especially when teams sit on a low block, like Palace did today. Palace were going nowhere. They were quite happy just to suffer out of possession and try and score on a counter-attack. They're a threat. We know they're a threat because they're a side they're party poopers. Wherever they go, they cause a problem. But Arsenal just don't panic and they just think, what, we might have to score from different means today. It might not be pretty, but we need maximum points already. We're at home. And they don't panic. And I think they've got that calmness and belief that eventually they will score. If they don't score from the first header, the first contact on their set pieces, everyone knows from fine detail where they need to be when that ball might drop. And that's exactly what Eze did.
100% is correct. One of the things that people have to dig at Arsenal is, oh yeah, but he scored from set pieces. But Crystal Palace was sitting back. So basically this is the other mean, is the set piece to score a goal. And I think the defensive structure of Arsenal is what allows them actually to have all this. The chances that Arsenal make is because they're not chasing games. Like the only game that they have chased is the Man City game, right? All the other games, right? They were absolutely on the front foot or 0-0. Liverpool game, they couldn't actually get a draw. Liverpool had a brilliant free kick by Szoboszlai. But I think the Italians said this before, if you are 0-0 or you are 1-1, your next chance is to win the game. You're not chasing anybody. The opposition is not comfortable. And that is what Arsenal built, actually. And here, I want you guys to hear this as well. I want you guys to hear what Oliver Glasner said about Arsenal, because this is a brilliant compliment for Arsenal from a coach that everyone likes in the Premier League.
Everything, I think they were 3 times in a row second in the league. Yeah. Investing 300 million, having fantastic players, having a great manager, having a clear structure. So then you play on the top level of the world, and this is what they're showing. Consistency, always analyzing what kind of players they need to add to the squad to make the next level. Now over years, not just this summer. When I see Declan Rice, 2-3 years ago, and they bought him for 120 million from West Ham, always exactly knowing what kind of players they need to make the next step, and then integrating them into their structure, defensively compact, always relying on their structure, on the on set plays, having a fantastic balance in the game. So I think all of this and developing over years now, always doing many things right, then you are challenging for the Premier League title.
One of the points that I wanted to mention is one thing. All that building thing and reaching this point is down to Mikel Arteta and the Arsenal's hierarchy work. Building the team to reach this level, this is that process that they're talking about. Should they have won trophies along the way? Probably yes. But today is where Arsenal at, and what Oliver Glasner is talking about is because of how Mikel Arteta worked with this team, how he built that defensive solidity, how the team is, everyone that plays Arsenal say how well structured they are. That is the reality of Arsenal until now. If you play them, it's very hard to beat. One of the hardest teams to be. Look at what the players talk about for Arsenal. But again, people keep talking about the set pieces. We're not. People keep talking about, oh, but you're boring, you're this, you don't create from open play. They win by all means, and that is what matters. Watch Mark Goldbridge and what he said about Arsenal. But what I took from Oliver Glasner is that is all down to the Arteta work.
Arsenal win to extend their lead at the top of the table, and Villa beat Man City, plunging them into a new crisis as well. Arsenal, we'll talk about in a moment, they're looking unstoppable. It's there. I don't want to say this to Arsenal because, you know, they haven't won a league for 20 years, but it's theirs to lose at the moment. You know, I'm sure Arsenal fans will be looking at Bournemouth and Sunderland with respect. But with respect, they're 7 points ahead of Liverpool and they're 6 points ahead of Man City. That's a considerable gap after 9 games. Their next 2 games are Burnley and Sunderland, and Liverpool and Man City play each other then. If Arsenal can win the next 2 games, that gap's going to get bigger. So Arsenal in a fantastic position at the moment. People are going to moan about set-piece FC and everything. They've conceded 3 goals in 9 games. For the second game in a row, I don't think somebody's had a shot on target. Like, okay, they're good at set pieces, right? But every team they play is parking the bus and they're finding a way to win. But every team they play aren't scoring against them either. So it's not just set pieces, is it? They're not sitting deep and, you know, using a card for a set piece. They're trying to attack. Teams are playing compact and not attacking them. So, you know, Arsenal in a way are a victim of how people are playing against them, and they're getting the job done. And the games might be dull, but they're getting the job done. So they're unstoppable at the moment.
100% is absolutely correct about this. They're unstoppable. But what I wanted to say about this as well is Arsenal, people keep talking about, but they win with a set piece. But why nobody talks about how solid they are? There's not a lot of, lately only people are talking about how solid they are. And I keep saying this. You keep talking about set pieces. Why don't you talk about the Arsenal don't concede shots on target? I think that's what we need to focus on if you're going to analyze Arsenal. Why they don't concede chances? Because they are structuring very, very well. And that is down to the manager and also what Tim Sherwood said. Rice out, no problem. Saliba out, no problem. Calafiori out, Marzo Skelly is there. Saka out, Madueke played. That is what a squad is. And everyone is slotting in, knowing the rule in the team. I think it might be Arsenal's year. I'm saying it might be Arsenal's year. It's not too early to say it. It's not too early to say it. You guys let me know in the comment section what you guys think. And make sure to check out OK Jersey right here. Scan the QR code, 8% for your discount. Turn on the notification bell. And I'll see you guys later.